Whoever looked at your life and thought there has to be more? Welcome to the Corporate Escapists podcast, where stories change lives. This is a space for bold women rewriting the rules, building businesses with soul, and choosing legacy over likes. If you're ready to be seen, heard, and valued, you're in the right place. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Corporate Escapists TV show and podcast. I'm your host, Christine Innes. I am so delighted to have the very beautiful Jo joining us. Welcome to the show, lovely.
Hi, thanks for having me.
I'm so excited because I actually feel like this is the time of year that everyone is going, haven't really gotten where I wanted to in my business. So what can I do? And I know that this conversation can be a complete game changer because I know everything about you. So most people know in this show, I can just get so carried away because I get so excited with my guests. So I'm going to pause for a moment and I'm going to get you to introduce yourself to our audience. And then we're going to have the most amazing conversation.
Thank you so much. I'm excited as well. It's always a pleasure to come and add some value. My name's Jo Spehr. I am the director of Empire Events and Retreats. So essentially, I work with lots of 7, 8 figure entrepreneurs to help them plan, strategize, deliver, and manage epic world-class events that also bring them in a profit and just allows them to be fully stress-free and calm and present with the event. Because if you run events, and I'm sure you know with your awards, there's a lot of moving parts, there's a lot of different elements to consider. And so I love being able to take the stress off of my clients so that they can fully show up and be present and add value to the audience and connect with everyone there, which is the whole intention of the event, right?
Oh, 100%. Like, honestly, I mean, you saved me, when, running an awards, it was the first time. And then, like, second year, I'm like, oh, no, let's go higher. And everyone's like, you need to talk to Jo. And I'm like, okay. And honestly, it was a game changer because it's just so, like you said, there is so many moving parts. But why events? Because I actually think that this has been one of the biggest game changers for my business because like I know what it does for me, but what have you seen on the other end for entrepreneurs running events?
Yeah, so I believe now more than ever, it is crucial for business owners to be incorporating events in some way, shape, or form into their business because with the rise of AI, trust is very diluted online because we don't know what's real anymore. There's so much stuff that's produced that's fake, and even people reading scripts and all of these things. So it takes a lot more touch points now for somebody to know, like, and trust you before they're going to buy from you when all they're seeing is you online amongst the noise of everybody else. So getting people in the room to actually experience you, to see that you're a real person, to feel your energy, that's going to collapse that sales timeline in terms of them feeling ready to buy from you and work with you or be part of your community or whatever it is that you're offering. So yeah, in-person events is authority building, trust building, and I think that yeah, if you're not incorporating them in some way, shape, or form moving forward, that it's going to be a lot harder. And I'm finding that it already kind of is for a lot of people who are focusing a lot online. It's becoming a bit harder for people to fully convert into that next step with you.
Yeah, 100%. Like it really did change. I mean, COVID, like we were just, so disconnected. And I think everyone sort of, when we were able to come back and, be social again, we sort of went into like social overdrive with it and everyone's scaling back. But I find now that, with particular, entrepreneurs, I'm seeing a lot more intention behind the event. It's not just, oh, here, run an event, or we're just going to get people in the room and share this, the intention behind it. And I think that's one thing I like working with you is that you make sure that the intention and how the event's delivered as well all fuses together. With it. Are you finding that with a lot of entrepreneurs now? It's like having that right intention of what they want to deliver?
Yeah, I think that it depends where people are at. Like some of my clients have run multiple events and they're literally, amazing at them. And then they just really want to get rid of the operational elements of things. So they bring me in. And so then there's some business owners who haven't run events before, or maybe have only done small scale things and they're ready to take it to the next level. And so when I connect with them, one of the first things I ask is like, what is the intention behind what you're running for the actual attendees coming in? Like, how do you want them to feel? What do you want them to experience? How are they walking in compared to how they're walking out? And then also, what is your objective from a business perspective in terms of what the event can help support you to do? Like, is it community building? Is it to build awareness? Is it to actually make some sales? Like, there's different events for different levels, as you would be aware. Like, your awards ceremony, I'm going to assume you're not necessarily selling anything there in terms of working with you. However, it's building you massive authority, it's building you trust, it's building your partnerships, your networks, your community, and the flow on effects of that is always going to bring you a return on investment as well. So it
Yeah.
really depends on you specifically as the business owner, what your objectives are.
Yeah. So one thing that I realized, early on running events is everyone says that they're an expert in their field with it. And they're like, it's like wedding planning, like everyone goes, oh, I've planned my own wedding, so I can go and be a wedding planner. But it's not as simple as, just because you've done it once. Because as you said, like every venue has its own criteria, like even working with different videographers, these are the little bits and pieces of why I think it's important to have somebody like you on the team with running events, because you get to see the little nuances like behind the scenes that you don't normally pick up on, maybe until really the last minute of the event and go, oh, I didn't know about that bit.
Mm. Yeah, it's funny. I actually wrote a post about this yesterday because I spent 2 hours doing a site visit for a client event coming up yesterday because we're very intentional. Like we want a standard, we uphold a standard. A lot of the clients that I work with, that's really important for them. And it's a representation of your brand. So there are so many little intricacies and things that if you're not a seasoned expert in terms of running events, then you're probably going to miss things. And like that's okay. The nature of events, there are always going to be some things that you don't plan for. So having somebody there to support that and to troubleshoot that is really, going to make such a big difference to you. And the main goal is that no one knows about it, right? Like things,
Yeah.
we might be putting out fires in the background and the attendees don't need to know about it at all. It's
Yeah.
it's when it starts to give them a poor experience. That's when you've really got to look at like, actually, this is going to affect my brand reputation. People are potentially not going to want to come back. You're losing that opportunity to build trust with them. So yeah, having somebody who's experienced, I think about all the things that you're not even like wondering about. Like you're probably like, oh, I
Yeah.
didn't even think of that. It's like I'm
Yeah.
already 10 steps ahead and
Yeah.
putting out like fires before they even get lit.
Yeah. Look, I think my 3 a.m. brain goes crazy when I'm running events. And, it's like, oh my God, hang on, I've got to write this down because, there's so many moving parts. And, running also multiple brands too, because each brand has, a different sort of message as well. And I think the event you want to make sure, as you said, is in alignment to that message with
Mhm.
it. One thing that I'm like finding, and we had a quick little talk about it, it's a bit of a running joke, I think, is that, people at the moment are leaving things to the last minute to book in for events. And that's really, really stressful for running an event because there's a huge financial cost with, putting events on and everything like that. Like, to people out there that, are thinking of going to an event, what are just some of the things like so they can sort of, I don't know, maybe I don't want to say consider it, but maybe think about like the workings behind the scenes, because it's not just, oh, I woke up one day and I'm going to run an event.
Mm.
Mine's a 12 months in a process. So like planning. So it's
Yeah.
not just, oh, okay, I'm going to do this today.
Yeah, yeah, I think when until you've actually run an event yourself, you don't
Yeah.
fully understand all of the moving parts. And even for me, like I've run hundreds and hundreds of events, there's sometimes things that you just don't plan for, that you don't fully see until you really get into the planning stage. And then you're like, oh, wow, I didn't expect that there were going to be these other little bits and pieces that I didn't even think about. So for me, I've got such a solid framework and structure for guiding different styles of events that I get to help my clients with. So we're not starting from scratch necessarily every time. But yeah, there's always going to be things that pop into your brain in the middle of the night, because
Yeah.
it's like admin on steroids. It really is. There's like,
Yeah.
to run a really streamlined event, you've got to dot all the I's and cross all the T's and ensure that there are so many logistical things all coming together to harmoniously um, present this amazing
Mhm.
experience that people don't fully realize all
Yeah.
of the hours that have gone into it.
Yeah, 100%. Um, yeah, let's just say there's not a lot of sleep some days when
I
running.
feel you. I feel you.
So yeah, it's a lot. And look, it is a lot of fun too. I mean,
Yeah.
I love the outcome with it. What have been some of your memorable moments like with running events? Because I know some of the events that you have helped put together, and they are like epic.
Yeah. Obviously, like one of the biggest ones is Dreamfest, that is 800 entrepreneurs in the room across 2 days, and then day three is the full yacht party after party. But that's a really big, complex event to run. It's the third year this year that I'm supporting with that one. But it is also fun because it's kind of like, very upbeat. We've got performers, we've got a full AV production team with all different lights, and it just, we have DJs, and it really just creates a really fun atmosphere and experience for people. So, if I've done my job correctly in the pre-planning element, it does mean that me and the team get to enjoy the actual day itself. Although I'm still running around like a crazy person, I really do get to make some beautiful connections, and just seeing everybody have a freaking amazing time and a memorable experience, like that for me makes it all worth it. So that's definitely a cool one. I've also worked on like large scale events previous to running my own business. Used to work at the Gold Coast Council, so we did. I've helped with the Commonwealth Games when that was here on the Gold Coast, and yeah, so many different big MMA things, concerts, like sporting events. The other thing that I really love is on the complete opposite side of that is retreats, because there's a lot more space and flow and time to experience different elements and activities. And so I've run a few beautiful retreats over in Bali with some amazing clients. And so, yeah, I really enjoy that as well, because it's normally like a bit more intimate. It's still just as much work. However, when we actually get there on the day, it's a little bit less structured in terms of like, we need to hit all these points before everyone leaves. We do get a little bit more time and space. And obviously, I get paid to travel over there and have the
Yeah,
experience as well, which is a bonus. So, yeah, there are a few that I
absolutely.
love. Yeah.
Absolutely. I know there's going to be a lot of people listening to this. They're entrepreneurs wanting to run the event, but also too, they're people thinking that they want to get into the event industry as well, because I think this is like something new. It's not new, but it's also a different element that people are wanting to explore. What would you say to somebody who's wanting to, first of all, get into the event industry?
I would say definitely consider it. A lot of the time, when I first chat with certain business owners around starting events for the first time, I do like to make sure that their business structure and foundations are solid, because events are a marketing tool essentially. And so, kind of like paid ads is only going to amplify what's already working well in your business. And obviously, if you've got a few gaps and you're a bit unsure on your messaging and your ideal client avatar and your business model and what you've got to offer, I would say really do the work on getting really clear on that and getting the social proof and that, experience behind you. Sometimes people come to me and I say, you need to go and work on this first and give yourself 6 months of consistently doing that to prove to yourself that this business model works, and to get the social proof behind you. And then events are only going to amplify what you're already doing really well. So, like ads, events are going to cost you money, right? You're going to need to put in a lot of time and energy and money into getting them off the ground. And so, if you do it too early, it can kind of, you obviously learn a lot, you know, you're going to grow a lot, you're going to face off with a lot of your shit most likely as well. However, I really want to see my clients succeed. So a lot of the time I do send them away with a bit of homework and say, go and get this really solid. And then that means that by the time you're ready to run an event, you're already kind of compounding from a really solid foundation that you're actually then going to see a better return from the event itself.
I love it so much because it is. It's scary. It's daunting. It's it will uncover certain things about yourself that you didn't realize. Like, I'll be honest. I always say business is like your personal development journey on
Oh yeah,
steroids. So
100%.
yeah.
Yeah.
let's add an event on top of that as
Oh
well.
yeah.
So what is like who would be your ideal client? Like if someone's listening to that, they're going, okay, do you only work with businesses on the Gold Coast? Like who is going to be your ideal client for those listening?
No, I do have clients all over. A lot of them just fly me wherever their event is. And so, you know, the pre-planning elements we can obviously do remotely. So that's definitely not a barrier. Um, I generally now work with more people who are at the 7, 8 figure level because what my like one of the best things that I can add value on is the operational elements behind the event. So I kind of integrate myself as a strategic arm into a lot of my clients' businesses and understand exactly what they need and how I can best serve them and their business in terms of the event. Because every client's quite different. They might be one solo entrepreneur with a small team or just a VA, and they're going to obviously need quite a lot more from me. But then there's other companies that I work for that have big teams that have certain team members who can do some of the elements of the admin and all those things. And then I integrate myself in and support with the elements that they need me to as well. So if you're at the more 6 figure level, that's okay as well. I take on less of that level of client now because if you're creating an event for the first time, like a signature event that's going to become part of your business model, it's a longer journey. Like we need a lot more time to really understand how the event fits into your current business so that it's not done in isolation, but everything feeds everything else. It's like an ecosystem, right? So
Yeah.
you're adding the event into an already working system. We don't want to think that the event's going to fix a problem. We want to make sure that everything's working well, everything's really solid, and then we can create the event to complement and enhance everything else that's already going really well. So I do take on a couple of those, but like I mentioned, that's less frequent because it is a lot more time and energy. You know, we're normally working at least 6 months minimum together. And then there's quite a lot of testing and trialing to, you know, you run the event, you get a lot of feedback, you get a lot of data, and then you improve and it compounds from there. So it's like running these regular events do work because you're building off of the last one every single time.
Yeah, 100%. I just want everyone just to realize, like, and hear that part. Like, events do not fix the problem in your business.
Yeah.
Like, it's so, I hear so many people going, oh, I just run an event. And I'm like, going, okay, like,
Yeah.
what's the reason, like, behind it? Because everyone, they're like, going, oh, you run events. I'm like, oh, yeah, I do. But, um,
Because
it's,
I'm
it's
crazy.
yeah, well, not when I've done like nearly 20 this year. So I'm like, okay, like,
Yeah.
and then small events too, but and just know, like, at the time that we worked together last year, like taking the awards like to the next level, it gave me such a different perspective with it, and just understanding just other areas, especially like working with venues, because that is like the foundation of running the event. Like the venue has to match where you're
Yeah.
going with it as well, so which is
Mm.
amazing. So we're going to pop all the details of how people can reach out to you below, but what would you say, like, what one message that anybody listening to this today with considering running an event, what would be one takeaway from them for them?
I think be really clear on your intention going in and also your business objective.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of just go, yeah, let's run an event, and they don't really sit down and fully consider that. One activity that I think is really helpful is actually sitting down and looking at a budget before you go ham on bringing it to life, because there are quite a lot of elements and outgoings that you need to consider. And events themselves aren't necessarily a big money maker. Like I mentioned before, it's a marketing tool. And so if you don't have a clear customer journey and understand, excuse me, where the event fits in, and then offering that invitation to the next level, that's where you're going to make your money. That's where you're building the trust and the relationships to have your return on investment come through. So you kind of really have to have a clear understanding of all of those pieces. And then, yeah, having the right support, obviously, if depending on where you're at and the scale that you're wanting to go to, it's just going to be really useful, because there's going to be things that you probably don't think about. And I'm also kind of like, fuck around and find out. Like, if you want to
Yeah.
get in and do an event, like, go for
Yeah.
it. I wouldn't want to discourage anyone either.
No.
But I think, yeah, you'll soon find out exactly what's
Yeah.
involved, and having somebody to support you as well through the emotional turmoil and the ups and downs. Like when
Mm.
you're sitting there and tickets haven't sold and you're like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I'm failing. And you're going through
Yeah.
the big identity crisis and the leadership upgrades that happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very helpful to know that you're not alone and it's completely normal.
Yeah, tick, tick, tick to all of those. Like, yes, absolutely. So amazing. Look, we normally ask our guests just for questions just to sort of get to know you just a little bit better. The first one that I've got is, do you have a favorite motivational quote?
Ooh, fuck around and find out is my
Yeah,
current favorite flavor.
I love it. I love it. Do you know what?
Yeah,
I think
gotta do.
I'm going to use that for some of my clients because, yeah, it's look, business is about taking risk too.
Yeah,
I think, yeah, you can take strategic risk with it,
yeah.
and events is one of them. So amazing. What about a book or like a movie or something that that somebody should be reading right now if they're in business?
It's funny because the first thing that came to mind is my romanticy smutty novels that I like to read. But
Yes.
you know what? And even though they're not business related, for me, it's actually been an amazing way to switch off, to get out of the your structure and the
Mm-hmm.
like knowledge. Sometimes we do just need an outlet to completely switch off. So get into the
Oh my God.
fantasy and the
Oh my
romance.
God, that's what
Yeah.
I do before I go to bed. I'm like, I have my romance and they are like really girly novels.
It's the
So
best.
yeah, so totally, absolutely. And I think it allows the creativity when you go to sleep too. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Be
100%.
dreaming of the beautiful man in there.
Yes, exactly. Trying to manifest that person.
Yeah.
Love it so much. What about an inspirational person that we should be following?
Oh, this is a good one. I follow so many. All right, I'm going to, if you're into like astrology or anything like
Oh,
that, I last week before had an amazing astrology reading, but it was more like soul therapy. So it definitely went deeper than I expected. But his name's Luke Belk, and he's a Gold
okay,
Coast guy, and yeah, he's just amazing. So go give
okay.
him a follow. Yeah.
All right, I'm going to stalk him. And then who else should we have on the podcast?
Ooh, I think my business partners, Ultimate Entrepreneur. I don't know if you know Tyler Erickson and
Yes.
James Baylog. Yeah.
Well, I've had James on the show, so I haven't
You
had
have.
Tyler. So yes,
Let's get
yes,
Tyler on. Yeah, they're for
yeah,
me like amazing people to work with,
yeah,
super inspirational, add
yeah.
lots of value. Like you'll go down some rabbit holes, but I'm sure your listeners are going to get heaps of value from
Oh
that.
my God. Yeah. And I've worked with Tyler. So yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. Amazing. Okay, let's
so
do
good.
that. I'll hit him up and say Joe said.
Yeah,
So
great.
let's do it. Let's do it.
Love it.
Well, thank you so much for being on the show and sharing your gifts with all of us. And I just know that so many people are going to be, this is the time I think people go, how can I, amplify my business even more? So if they
Mm.
want somebody, I think that you need to go and speak to Jo, and she can help you with building that event and that ecosystem for your business as well. So thank you so much for being on the show, beautiful. And yeah, just appreciate you so much.
Thank you for having me. Good luck with all your events. I love the work
Oh,
you're doing.
thank you so much. And for all of you listening today, just remember to follow with heart and soul and passion and live life to the fullest every single day. Love and light to you all.